And then after that, it's Los Angeles Infamous and Moscow Red Legion. So we're gonna have, these are gonna be two crazy games because these guys are fighting for their, fighting for relevance in the professional division. But before we get to that, we have Fantasy Paintball is now here. So these are the top 10 PBA fantasy players for the event thus far. Now the teams that are still in the event, Houston Heat, San Antonio X Factor, Impact, and Ironman, those players are still going to, their fantasy points are still going to count. The teams that we're about to watch play in the relegation games, they are no longer qualified to stat up for fantasy. So there they are, Damian Ryan, Archie Montemayor, and Rob Velez. Man, Mikey Bruno called that. I talked to him. I didn't listen to him. I didn't put him on my team. And sure enough, Rob Velez ended up getting up there, 4,700 points, and Damian Ryan on fire with the kills. And I talked to Damian before the event too, and he was like, hey, high risk, high reward, baby. I'm like, you know how I work. And Archie continuing, obviously, to play his solid ball. So Alex Goldman, Chad George, Alexander Bernikov, Sergey Solnitskov, Konstantin Fedorov, Marcelo Margot, and Jason Edwards finishing it up. So let's check out who is actually here in the hunt for the Die prize package. So much awesome stuff being given away, and thanks to Die Precision for hooking it up. And there are the top 10 teams that are hoping to God that their boys step up there today and win them that prize package.
I love these team names. Actually,
look at number 3. The Chicago Bears suck.
That's what I was chuckling about a second ago.
When he made his team name, he was hoping to God that this is exactly what was going to happen. That we make a graphic and we put it up.
Oh man, hats off. Hats off.
Yeah, I gotta be a Packer fan.
Oh man, that's pretty funny. On your screen right now, 187 Crew coming out, fighting to stay in the Champions League, but Aftershock having great games this weekend. AJ Lawhead, one of your star players this weekend. Rob Velez, that we talked about, split screen breakout, Maddie.
Aftershock on your left, 187 Crew on your right, and on the breakout, I think both teams able to keep 5 alive. No, wait a second, and it might be penalty. Nope, Kyle Markowski got shot off the break. Thought for a second the ref was going to call a penalty, but no, didn't. So Shock down a body, and here comes Shock launching up the center.
Dan Zaleski also getting shot for upTon 187 Crew, going out of Carl Markowski's mirror. So both teams shoot that Snake Temple on the break, 4-on-4 paintball right now, and AJ Lawhead goes right up the middle to that center cake again, like he's been playing for Aftershock. Chris Sosine over there, getting tons of kills for Aftershock throughout the prelims. Playing on that Dorito side of the field with Rob Velez, Brian McKenna, upTon 187, usual suspects as well, Max Trailer, Greg Lazat, Matthew Derula, and Nick Laval. Max Trailer over there in the Dorito 1. Nick Laval with him, bumping up into the Dorito side quickly. Chicago Aftershock, this is what they did yesterday, getting into that Dorito side temple, and Sosine backing him up.
Yeah, Shock.
Big Dorito.
Yeah, Shock is an aggressive team. And even though there's a lot at stake here, they're still pushing forward, now moving up on the D side of the field to the D side 50-yard line, top portion of your screen. So much more aggression early on out of Chicago Aftershock. And now 187 Crew trying to get out wide. It's Greg Gazad on the Snake side, and he gets shot. So 3 players left alive. Shock up in the center now, trying to cut down. And here comes a big move. Nick Laval tries
Nick Laval getting shot in the goggles. That's going to be a major penalty.
Yeah, that was a major. He got shot out.
Yeah,
by the Dorito yard line 50, at D side 50, shot him before. So Laval trying to make it happen, ends up getting that major penalty. I like that call, I like that move, but he just got caught, man.
That wasn't even close, man. He was a good 1.5 steps away.
Yeah, well, he should have known that the 50 Dorito was hot before he made that move, because the 50 Dorito just ate him alive as he came across.
Ooh, Shock is throwing bodies away.
And this could be another penalty on Max Trailer, probably. Well, actually, he's like, I'm good.
Yeah, that very easily could have been a
penalty
right there.
You called that, Matty. I mean, he wasn't even close to coming around that Dorito and still continued to come down the field and shot him. That wasn't even a questionable call. That was
yeah, that was
pretty cut and dry, actually.
Yeah, that was a pretty cut and dry. So the first penalty for the day going to be Nick Laval. Nick Laval's actually got a decent amount of penalties here, the 2013 World Cup. So Laval, because that's a major penalty, he's going to have to be in the box for the next minute and 33 seconds here. So both teams on the break initially fought 4 alive as each team lost a body, but Shock just quicker to go. So good job by Shock to get in good field position. So 187 had to try to counter, and they were just there to make that shot, and Laval got that penalty. So now 187 going to be down a body. Shock on the power play. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Being a snake player, diving around a lot, you're crawling a lot, and the geo can outstand my beating it up down the snake. I can shoot straighter with that gun than I've ever shot in my life. The bunkers are getting smaller and smaller. You really need to play tighter and tighter. Having a small gun like a Geo 3 has helped me evolve my game and be able to play tight spots. My name is Billy Bernaccia. I play for San Antonio X Factor. My gun is a Geo 3.
Let's go, Rob. I'm good.
Welcome back. I am here in Shock's pit with Coach Mikey Bruno. Mikey, you guys are coming out of a huge win for you yesterday against Damage. How are you feeling today, and how are you keeping that momentum up?
We feel good. I mean, truthfully, I feel like we should have been 3-1 easily. We gave a couple points away, but our guys feel good. They're playing pretty good. We're slowing everything up a little bit to play a little bit more conservative because everybody's sitting on us. So we're just going to try and chop them up and play our style. When we get a body up, we're coming at you.
All right, well, both these teams are extremely aggressive. We'll see who gets the next point.
And it is interesting to see the progression of the style from both Shock and 187 as they've been trying to improve their teams the past 2 seasons. Shock on a rebuild, one of the most legendary franchises. They're actually the most successful World Cup team ever, but they have not won a World Cup in over 10 years.
And looks like
Carl Markowski straight to snake 1 for Chicago Aftershock. Playing aggressive on the get. Dan Zaleski getting shot on the break for upTon 187. Eddie Painter getting shot as well. AJ Lawhead gonna burst through the middle of the field and take out that Dorito 1.
Well, Todd, that was another major. And here comes AJ Lawhead.
Wow, what a quick point right there. Another major penalty on 187. So they are sitting on 2 major penalties in the first 2 points of this game.
I was going to say, I thought I saw Zaleski get shot on the break and didn't come out right away.
Well, also notice that as Velez was hanging that flag up, Velez, though he's playing phenomenal here at the World Cup, he's limping right now. Did you notice that? Yeah, I noticed him limping as he walked off after the first point, and then he just gimped that flag in.
I thought that was a pimp stride.
I don't know, Chris, it looked like you back when I think that stick got stuck in your leg.
They stuck a stick in his leg. God, what year was that? Good Lord, man.
Let's not date ourselves by bringing that up.
There's no dating me. I'm well past my expiration date.
But there,
I'm like bad milk.
But Rob Velez, man, such a contributor here at this event for Chicago Aftershock. 24 kills overall, statting real well, especially for the price that he was up there, and such a good job for Rob Velez, and still playing through some sort of injury. And right now, Chicago Aftershock looking really good. And 187 Crew is going to have to try to get their 3 bodies out. And hopefully maybe shoot a G, hopefully 2, which is always really tough when you only have 3 bodies. There's only 3 guns, and you're going to have to try to spread the field. So right now, Chicago Aftershock, they've got to be happy with the way that this game has turned out here to start with.
Right, well, I see Aftershock going up the middle of the field right away. I mean, Mikey Bruno is one of those aggressive players from back in the day, so he has aggressive attitude. And Aftershock is one of those teams that just, you never know what they're going to do. Carl Markowski, he is so fast, it's ridiculous. So look for Chicago Aftershock to go up the middle on the field right now. It's 2-0, and they have 2 penalties, 3 on 5. And it's just, Todd, it's going to be one of those games, I think.
Well, Todd, I really, mental strength is so important on Sunday, and we've seen Carl either be hit or miss all weekend long off the break, and because he has got shot a lot off the break, but they're getting him his reps still. I mean, he's such a talented weapon out there that you want him on the field, because if he does live, he's going to, try to make something happen. But I like noticing in his body language, he hasn't been letting those off the break deaths hurt him, mentally. And now Carl trying to spread out.
Socene might be catching a major right here. He took one square in the chest on the break. And, lucky for him, that bounced because the ref saw him take it. And then he came outside and got shot in the goggles. But, Socene's been doing a good job for Aftershock all weekend.
Yeah,
they've been really winning games from that Dorito side and the middle with AJ Lawhead. As Davey Simmons goes diving into Snake 3 for Aftershock.
Shock is all over the field right now, and I mean, they're only looking at a couple bodies, and they got a G off the break, so just 2 of them left alive. Here's the D-side cam. As Chicago Aftershock pushing forward. Oh, it looks like they got that shot in on Brian McKenna. Shock just in general looking really good. And like Mikey said, I mean, they went 2-2. And are playing in the relegation games. The bottom 4 teams out of 10 play off in these relegation games to see who's going to get bumped down and who's going to stay in the Champions Division. This is the first appearance for Shock in the Champions Division all year long. And now looking real solid, going up 3 here, 3-0 the score with 16-19 to go. And if things keep going this way, Shock will earn their way in to play in the Champions Division for 2014. I really like how their lineup's playing right now. We'll be right back after this. So let's take a quick look here on paper, how these two teams have matched up based on how they've played so far this year. And both of these teams very strong at attacking. That's definitely their strength. Defending, not their strength, which is what these teams are trying to work on, as well as finishing in clutch. You know, it's just one of those things that they're young players and trying to prove themselves. And it just takes time. You have to get your reps against this high-level competition, the highest in the world. I mean, you know, this is the PSP. This is the professional division. You're looking at the best teams in the world for sure, and it just takes a little bit of time for these younger guys to increase their level of skill. But we're seeing it right now from Chicago Aftershock.
And Shock losing one in the break. Coming out of the box real quick and getting blasted to pieces, though, is Eddie Painter.
Wow, Chris Sosi, he bumps over that Dorito one, catches a bouncer. After McKenna and Lawhead both get shot. A little bit of first penalty comes off. Still 21 seconds on the other major 4187. Shock right now with 3 bodies. Velez still alive over here on the snake side. Chicago Aftershock's gone to that starting 5. Every point so far. Coming out of the box right now is going to be Dan Zaleski. Is going to break out to the Dorito side with his head down, dive in. Does he make it?
Yeah, I think he did, actually.
I don't know. I thought he saw him catch one. No, he made it in there. So Karl Markowski trying to get a shot cross field, not able to do it. And now here comes 187 Crew, finally back at full strength. Let's see if they can start trying to put some points on the board.
Eddie Painter dives into snake 1. Karl Markowski gets shot out of snake 3 for Aftershock.
Well, that's a bad death for Karl, as Brian McKenna and AJ Lawhead already got shot by Max Trail and Eddie Painter respectively. So there's just 2 players left alive for Shock, and 187 Crew might be able to take it within 2 here.
What a turn of events right here. I mean, I thought Shock had that. Karl Markowski was in a good spot, but unfortunately losing players around and behind him. So now they're down to 2 players, 4 on 2. Aftershock still up 3 points though, Maddie.
Yeah, but it's looking, well, it's 3 on 2 right now, so it's close. This is going to be close. I mean, before Karl walked off, he did get a shot on Eddie Painter.
Yeah, and Dan Zaleski also got shot out of that Dorito corner for 187, so he didn't live very long after coming out of that box.
If I'm Aftershock, I just sit there and cross up right now. I'm up 3 points. I can sit there for 14 minutes.
Or at
Well,
least,
I
3 or 4.
I probably couldn't.
Maybe 3 or 4 points.
Yeah.
Burn off some of that clock.
Well, Velez only has 2 pods left, so I don't know what Chris Sosian's looking at on his back as far as paint is concerned. But they do have a good crossfield spread right here. I mean, they are in a good position to look over each other and watch over each other and force 187 Crew to push forward. So that does give Shock a slight advantage as far as tactics are concerned.
Oh, looked like Rob Velez almost took one right there. Real close.
Well, he might have the ref in there.
Actually, yeah, he did. He did take that one right there. Now that's going to open the door for Eddie Painter. Come down the field and pinch out Chris Sosian. Hopefully Chris won't get a penalty. Good job by 187 Crew, Maddie and Todd. They came back from 2 bodies down to win that point.
Yeah,
3-1, bring it within 2.
Yeah, way to maintain that focus and fight through those penalties. And then Eddie Painter, clutch ability is increasing in that kid for sure. I think he's probably their most clutch guy at this point.
I would definitely agree with that. He's been playing really well this weekend. I mean, he has had some penalties here and there, but overall, some of the stuff he's done over the weekend has been really impressive to me.
Well, talk about get better faster. Eddie Painter has increased his level of play past 2 seasons a lot. So, you know, that kid can ball for sure. So here we go, Upton 187 crew now putting a point on the board as it's going to be 1-3. So 1-3, 13-19 to go. Nice job by Eddie Painter getting himself a 2-pack on that one. And also Matthew Jarula stepping up, the rookie for Upton 187 crew. We really like that pickup for them. And we'll be right back after this. So welcome here, man. It's a pretty overcast morning, which is a good thing for these teams because then that allows that sun to get a little higher in the sky. Here at the 2013 World Cup, Matty Marshall, Chris Soy, and Todd Martinez, we got an awesome day of paintball coming at you this first game. Pretty close. I didn't think that it was going to be a 2-point game after the crazy penalty-ridden first couple points for Upton 187 crew, but they maintained their composure. They were able to fight through it. They're only down 2 right now. Chicago Aftershock sending out pretty much the same crew. It's Rob Velez, Chris Sosine, Davey Simmons, AJ Lawhead, and Brian McKenna. So running with the starting 5 lineup. On the flip side, 187 crew, it's Trailer, Jarula, Laval, Lazat, and Zaleski.
And Aftershock gets all 5 bodies out alive.
But 187 crew, really good field position up in the center. I think Greg Lazat might have caught one right now, though.
Oh, Lazat's asking for a check.
I mean, he seems like he wants to call himself out, but apparently he's good to go. And looks like Lawhead coming off early, so big gun for Chicago Aftershock, and with his 4 confirmed kills already in this particular game, coming off early.
And that was Greg Lazat taking a shot, wrapping from the center A, clipping him in the goggles.
Greg Lazat misses his shot on Chris Sosine as Chris Sosine fills out to the Dorito 1. So now Zaleski crawls into Snake 3 for 187. Able to get up the field. There's a D-side camera. There's 81. Chris Sosine. They're doing a good job of shooting people out in front of him. Looks like he just took a bouncer.
You know, he reminds me of John Richardson so much, man. By the way he sits in bunkers and his body language.
He's a big kid, but he can get small. And he's been I think that's such a great pickup for Shock. It's really helped solidify that lineup. It gives that big gun in the backfield they haven't really had yet. And Sosa's got a lot of experience. You know, he didn't play a lot of points with Infamous this year, but at the same time, man, the kid is very talented. There's Zaleski in the Snake for Upton 187 crew. And you can tell, man, he wants to move up, and then forced to come back in, got pinched a little bit, had to get back into his bunker. Now shooting towards that D side of the field. Paintball is all about angles. You try to get as far up the field as you possibly can to get those angles cross field. And there's the back line of Chicago Aftershock.
Yeah, Velez and Simmons just staying alive over here on the Snake side for Aftershock.
And 4-on-4 with 11 minutes to go. Shock still with the advantage, 2 points up over 187 crew right now. Up in 187 crew digging out to get to the back corner bunker, gives Zaleski a little bit of help over here on the Snake side.
You know, and you talk about body language, actually look at Matt Jarula right there trying to help out Dan Zaleski, but Aftershock looking pretty content in what spots they're in right now, Matty.
Well, and of course, yeah, exactly, you're right. They don't need to do anything. If you get up points, the other team is forced to push forward. This is a race to 7. There's 20 minutes of regulation time. And once you get up a couple points, the other team has to push forward. And as we well know, if you're in your bunker shooting at somebody moving forward with no bunker or moving to a bunker, it's a little bit easier to shoot that guy. And so you create yourself an advantage. And Shock right now trying to maintain that advantage with their 4 bodies. You can see by their body language that they don't want to go anywhere. Anytime you see guys tucked into their bunker like that or double kneed down, they're now popping up a little bit to get a little bit better of an angle. Then he moves. You always can tell, guy's not going to move when he has double knees down.
But there you pop one up and then immediately made that quick bump across. And that's the thing, once a guy gets settled in his spot for a while and you get used to shooting at him, you don't think he's gonna make the move. But Simmons, smartly, good timing, able to get across. And then immediately, Chris Sosine gets shot though from Shock though on the D side. So that's gonna help out. That's gonna help out Zaleski a little bit, a little less pressure, but Shock filled that spot. There's Greg Lazat in the center. And also 187 Crew has a player in the 50-yard line, Dorito.
Yeah, Velez had to come over from that snake can because he was about to get chopped up by Nick Laval, who just bumped into the 50 Dorito.
So Shock blowing their advantage here, losing 2 bodies out of their bunkers. And now Lazat is going to drop the hammer on the last player left alive for Shock, Brian McKenna. Or no, Rob Velez, actually, and Brian McKenna. Yeah, so Brian McKenna, Rob Velez, last 2 players left alive. Nice job by Greg Lazat up in the center for 187 Crew. And also Nick Laval getting himself a 2-pack. He's the guy that shot Davey Simmons and Chris Sosine out of their spots. Nice work by upTon 187 Crew.
Greg Lazat didn't even know Brian McKenna was in that corner. He runs up the field, bunkers out Rob Velez in the Dorito, and just kind of stands there, and he's like, oh, there's a guy right next to me.
And talking about a young up-and-comer, man, Matthew Drula making a strong case to be a starter, obviously, here on 187 the way that he's played the game this weekend.
Played amazing. We've been calling his number a lot this weekend.
Yeah, and that's what happens. I mean, this is how you make a name for yourself by coming out to a big tournament and having big games. And all of a sudden, we keep saying, oh, who's that guy over there? Oh, it's Matt Drula, because he keeps getting into his spots. He's doing work for 187 and looking calm and composed. And they need more depth. That's the thing with 187. They've had a good, solid 4 or 5 guys, but that's why they've had a little bit of turnover too. Lucky for them though, they have Greg Lazat back, and I think he's playing well for them as well. He had a break during the beginning of the season, but they talked him into trying to come out to coming out here for the World Cup. And it's good to see, because that's the thing. If you want to succeed in the Champions Division, you have to have more than 4 or 5 solid players. I mean, you need a solid crew, and then you need guys that are going to be able to get in there and get your starters some rest.
Yeah, depth. Talk about depth. Aftershock. You don't have a lot of names that you call on that team that you would probably recognize. Chris Sosine, the standards, AJ Lawhead, but that team is actually very deep in talent. They played really, really well this weekend. I don't think that their scores this weekend actually pay homage to what they actually did this weekend. They really impressed me a lot this weekend. I'm really happy for Aftershock. I mean, unfortunately, they're in the relegation game right now, but I think they played better than what it thinks.
Well, hey, man, they still have the lead here by 1. Let's check out a replay real quick of that last point as Greg Lazat ran through. So there's Greg Lazat, and he launches from that center.
And watch him. He doesn't know the guys in the corner. He just kind of hangs out for a second. He's like, I'm just going to chill.
Murders Chris Sosine.
He's like, hey, there's a guy right here. Oh,
wow, look at this.
What's up with this?
And then, oh, my God, he's right there. Oh, that was great.
Hey, but look at the sportsmanship on him. He shoots them all in the pack. He could have put it all in the head or whatever, but he shot them all in the pack.
I guess McKenna, what was happening was McKenna was zoned in and tunnel visioned on that 50-yard line Dorito, so he didn't even hear or sense. So he's Brian McKenna. When you're right behind a guy, your head needs to be a little bit more on a swivel than that.
Especially in that corner spot. Well, you should be looking over your front guy.
Well, the thing is there was 187 did have a guy in the 50-yard line. So he was focused, and we call that tunnel vision. I mean, you basically just get tunnel vision on one guy. And in that situation, when you're down bodies, and you really kind of have to have that sense of that, okay, well, these guys could launch at any time. So, yeah, even if you're shooting, you want to maybe head check over, look the other way, just real quick, just a quick one. Okay, he's not coming. Keep on your lane. He's not coming. Tuck back in. Earn that spot again. And then, but, he just got 2 tunnel vision. And also, Greg Lazat, maybe a little lack of communication from 187 Crew. Didn't know the body count, didn't know where that last body was. So lucky for him that Brian McKenna was tunneled in.
Yeah, I mean, he could have got put on him, actually, just standing there, turned his back to him. He's like, and, unfortunately, Brian McKenna got the tail end of that deal, so to speak. But, hats off to 187, playing pretty well right now. But this is a good heads-up game, back and forth all day. It's 3-2. They were down by 3 points. So 2 straight unanswered points for 187 right now.
Yeah, they're fighting back, man.
I love it.
They want to keep their spot in the Champions Division.
187, I mean, they've been up and down all year, right? From the champions to the challengers. And, I thought they played pretty well out here. If not for all the penalties that they've gotten, they could have been looked a lot better.
Penalties are killing 187 at this event.
There's a lot of penalties killing a lot of people this event. I mean, Moscow Red Legion. Oh, and right at the middle, number 8 getting shot. Greg Lazat, we just called his number, getting shot. Also losing
Max Trailer.
Max Trailer on the break as well.
So here comes Chicago Aftershock. They're going to try to put another point on the board and extend their lead to 2 after 2 unanswered from upTon 187 crew. And here comes Lawhead up the center. And Lawhead starting to shark down the center of the field. And that's going to be a very quick point for Chicago Aftershock, as put the 4th point on the board for them. 5 alive for Chicago Aftershock, as Carl Markowski and AJ Lawhead doing a lot of work for Chicago Aftershock. 5 confirmed kills for AJ Lawhead, 4 for Carl Markowski. You see the boys there walking off for Chicago Aftershock. And, you know, again, the thing with Shock is that when you come to World Cup, I think these guys probably understand the legacy that they are trying to uphold. I mean, Chicago Aftershock is, I mean, they're like the Cowboys or the Packers or the Bears. Probably more the Bears, A, because they're from Chicago, and the Bears were known as kind of a rough and rugged, you know, brutal team, which is definitely the legacy that Shock had when they came up. And that's what they're trying to do, is extend that legacy. And, you know, that's one of the reasons, you know, you talk to Mikey Bruno, and he's all about loyalty, he's all about family, he just, you know, preaches that bleeds blue, like he says, and never played for another team. And he really is working very hard to try to get Shock back to the top of the game. And I really like the talent they have on the squad.
Yeah, me too. I mean, you're an old school Aftershock player. Todd Martinez won a World Cup with him, I believe, right?
Yep.
I mean, he's old, but seasoned.
You're right. You know, that team.
Marinated.
You know, like when I first came to that team, you know, they took me on, and, you know, they made me one of their own, you know, and after we won that World Cup, you know, it was, you know, do I stay with Aftershock or, you know, go play with Dynasty, who are all guys that were my age, my friends, and
same town.
You know, but just the way that those guys were, you know, about their teammates, and, you know, the way that they took care of their own. You know, I decided to stay another year with them, you know, and I feel where they're coming from. You know, I understand Mikey Bruno. You know, Mikey Bruno was on that team with me, and that guy, Rennick Miller, he'd do anything for those guys. Billy Saransky,
Spud,
Mike Bruno,
God,
Todd Adamson. We saw Todd Adamson up here yesterday.
Yeah, they're playing the 10-man. Some of the Chicago legends, Billy Saransky, Todd Adamson, are playing the 10-man, along with some other legendary teams like Team Strange.
Who's going to win this battle in the middle? I don't think they know each other's there yet, but AJ Lawhead's pretty aggressive. I can see him going around in a second.
Whoever figures it out is going to be the first to launch for sure, because you cannot let another guy live. And then here he comes, Lazat. So Lazat, the aggressor up the center, takes out Lawhead, but off of that, Carl Markowski. God, man, he is so fast.
So fast, man, jeez.
Such a just looked a soft flash diving in.
Again, all I saw was a shoe. I was like, oh, there's somebody in Snake. Weird.
So Zaleski now in Snake 1, Markowski in Snake 3. Finally getting out here, getting up the field a little bit. Carl Markowski posted down the wire now on Zaleski, who's just looking across the inside. Same 5 for Aftershock. Markowski's got Velez behind him. AJ Lawhead got shot out of that middle, but Brian McKenna and Chris Sosine over there on the Dorito side for Shock, trying to get it done. They're up 4-2 right now. 187. Gonna need to score this point to stay in this game.
There you go, Carl Markowski, 4,200 fantasy points, 11 kills. Inside, taking the highway, coming down to Carl Markowski. Gonna take out Dan Zaleski and
he's
live.
Still alive, I think.
Look at that.
Oh,
look at that.
Carl Markowski.
Look at that.
Oh, Carl Markowski putting on a little clinic over here.
Oh, that was awesome.
And then he finally gets taken out, but that's why you want Carl out there. And you want Carl out there because he's just a pure speed weapon, man.
That was awesome.
If we can get a replay of that.
Oh, he just turned around. He's like, oh, there's a guy sitting right there.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think he knows that guy's. Oh, there he is.
He was so nonchalant about it.
Well, he didn't even completely turn around. He just turned around, shot him in the back.
I think he was more stretching. I think he was stretching. Carl Markowski taking the highway.
Well, Carl Markowski did a great job to get in the Snake from the back corner bunker, and then as soon as he saw that the stars of the line, he decided to get up and start to make that move, and well done. But that's the thing, Carl is, because of his burst speed, he's got good burst speed, he's got good top level speed, and very athletic. So he is able to kind of, you know, and he keeps his eyes up because he's a veteran. You know, the thing is, Carl finally came back to the game after got married and, you know, full-time job, and he had spent years, a good 5 years playing in the pro ranks in the early 2000s. And then now he's back playing pro paintball, and it's great to see. He's a great asset to the game.
A great person overall. I mean,
yeah,
he's such
a
nice guy, man.
He's like a Rocky Cagnoni.
Yeah,
or,
absolutely.
You know, he's just one of those guys you can't hate. He's just a really nice, good human being.
I used to hate him when he used to put it on me. He'd run by me in the break. I was like, who was that? Was that Carl?
I don't know, but I'm hit.
I don't know, but there's some reason I feel some pain in this area right here.
Well, let's check out the replay here. So there's Carl Markowski. He jumps over and then off to the races. Gets it. Hits fifth gear right away. Comes down. Zaleski doesn't have a chance. He switches his gun around and then has to stop.
Hits the brakes.
He hits the brakes and dives out, and he looks over.
He's like, oh.
Yeah, one guy left alive. Turns around and blasts Eddie Painter, who's in that back corner bunker.
That was Matt Derula, actually, in the corner.
There's from the other ankle. Yeah, Matt Derula. So then he just gets over, blocking him out with that. He's using that can to block him out.
That was awesome.
I want to know how Derula saw Zaleski just stand up and walk out and wasn't like, where did that guy get shot from? He just stared at him like, damn, Zaleski, you did.
Well, that's the second time we've seen that happen in this game, except it was 187 that did it, or except it was Aftershock that did it before that. So here we go, AJ Lawhead and Greg Lazat both getting shot off the break. Chicago Aftershock in the driver's seat right now. 6 minutes and 38 seconds to go in this matchup. These two teams fighting here in this Champion League relegation match. So the loser of this game will be heading down to the Challengers Division again. And because both these teams have been down there before for 2014 for the first event. And it would be a huge moral victory here for Chicago Aftershock to win this game, defeat 187 Crew, and solidify their Champions League spot for the 2014 season. That is what these guys are fighting for. The next game coming at you is going to be LA Infamous and Lost Sky Legion, who are also not unfamiliar with relegation games.
What a bummer, man. It was one of those two teams is going to go down to relegation, and they're both top-level tier teams.
Well, it's always sad to see legendary teams like Infamous and Moscow have to play each other to see who's going to have to bump down, but that's the way it is. You keep what you kill out here, man.
You put yourself in that position.
Exactly. You put yourself in that position. Well, don't cry me a river about how, oh, well, it sucks that we have to play the relegate. Yeah, okay, so what? You guys didn't play well this event. I mean, Moscow Legion didn't win a game in the prelims.
That was unbelievable. You know, and, you know, LA Infamous, you know, my homage and my friends, you know, unfortunately, they just didn't play as well as they should have, but
I'm sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, they won 2 games, right?
Well, yeah, on paper, Infamous definitely should be the, they should have the advantage in this next game because Infamous was watching the last game last night between Tampa Bay Damage and Impact, hoping to God that Impact was going to beat Damage, but they didn't do it. So that's why San Antonio X Factor, but that's how hard it is in this league. It's so hard in this league. I mean, you can go from being sitting there waiting to play in the top 4 to having to play the relegation match.
That just goes to show, Maddie, like you said, how top level these teams really are. When you see LA Infamous and Moscow Red Legion in the relegation game, I mean, that's how tough the competition is out here at the World Cup. 400 teams from around the world. I mean, it's a tough battle out here. Like you said, this is the toughest tournament in the world to win.
Oh, it really is. And then after the relegation games, we're going to see the Challengers Division semifinals. And Sac Excessive and Texas Storm fighting each other to see who's going to bump up to the Champions Division, then Top Gun and Vicious in the same situation. 4 minutes and 23 seconds to go. Shock trying to hold on to this lead. 187 Crew is even right now with Shock on the body count, and they have to try to push forward.
Yeah, there's only 4 minutes and 12 seconds left in this game, Todd. Aftershock up 5-2. If you're 187, what would you do right now? I mean, obviously you got to get up the field.
Yeah, 187's got to come over. And there they go, pushing into the 50 Dorito. Chicago Aftershock has just done such a good job of locking off that Dorito side. You know, getting their kills early, and then being in there, being alive. Chris Sosine gets shot now out of the Dorito 1.
Eddie Painter, look at Eddie Painter getting in the snake and getting a kill real quick on Velez.
Yeah, but Velez goes around and just acted like Eddie Painter wasn't even in the snake. Just kind of came around the bunker, nice and slow, and then goes Brian McKenna.
Well, he didn't know he made it in there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because it was such a little crafty move by Painter to get in there and then immediately bump up and gun down the wire, gun down the sideline. And now Eddie Painter past the 50-yard line trying to take out. And I think that's going to do it for Shock. There's nobody left alive.
No, I think there's one person left in the Dorito, or no?
No, it's a clean field, so he's just scanning the field, making double extra, triple sure that everybody's dead. So, but they don't have a lot of time. They've got to sprint this flag in. Laval needs to sprint this flag in. Okay, he's jogging it in because they still have to come back and score 2 points in 3 minutes. So Laval hanging that flag up. Nice job by Eddie Painter. Gets himself a 3-pack in that point. Solid work by Mr. Painter. We'll be right back after this.
A&S Gear is having their World Cup Super Sale. We've got A&S pods for half off. A&S gas tanks starting as low as $99.95. We've got swabs so cheap that you can throw them away. You can get Nelson paint arriving at your door, $31.95. Jerseys, we've got them starting at $4.95. And pants, starting at $29.95. Shop now at ansgear.com and don't miss out on the biggest paintball sale ever.
One of the fundamental issues with traditional paintball markers is the loader on top of the gun. To eliminate those issues, we integrated the loader directly inside the gun. You're not going to have a hopper being a big target for your opponent to hit, and your field of vision will not be restricted anymore. We've done a ton of field testing with different tournament players, different employees. Nobody wants to give this gun back. It's badass.
So a timeout has been called here by upTon 187 crew as they are down 2 against Chicago Aftershock with 3 minutes to go, fighting for their lives in the Champions Division because the winner of this game stays in and the loser is going to go down. Let's check out the leaders here, kill count leaders for this event. Damian Ryan in the lead with 40 confirmed. And look at this, AJ Lawhead having a huge event for Chicago Aftershock, a leader on that team. And he's 32 confirmed kills. Archie Montemayor is, I mean, that's completely to be expected. Same with Damian, and as well as Chad George. Also Nick Laval, though he's got penalties, you know, not exactly playing his top level game, but still able to contribute and get 27.
Yeah, he'd have a lot more points if he didn't get like 3 majors this event. You know, Nick Laval could very easily be our stat leader. He's got 7,700. He's behind Damian Ryan at 8,800, and you know Nick Laval's got at least 2 majors. You know, that's 800 points right there.
Well, the thing with Laval is that he's so highly talented that there's no reason he can't be a top player in this game. It's just going to take a little bit of time to fix some of the problems he's got with this game. Let's check in with Lauren Kelly on the sideline. She has Nick Roberts from upTon 187 crew.
Hey guys, I'm down here in 187's pit with Nick Roberts, who's injured, not playing, but you and I were just talking about Aftershock and how strong they're coming out today and this whole weekend. Were they playing this way the entire season in the Challenger bracket?
I think they really switched it up against us at the Riverside event when we played them in the finals. They did a really good job of shooting us off the break and slowing it down, playing more methodical paintball. You know, their style was wild and crazy before, and they have a lot of talented players. So they've controlled it a little more. They picked up Chris Sosian, who's a big pickup for them. They've really learned how to control us off the break, or any team in general, and kind of play the field a little bit smarter than wilder and faster. So.
All right, well, we are definitely seeing a new Aftershock here on the Champions Field. We'll see if they keep the lead.
Yeah, we are seeing a new Aftershock. This is definitely a new Aftershock that we're seeing.
They're playing really good, man. I mean, I really have no complaints about them. They've come a long way. I think Carl Markowski adds a lot to the team and a little bit of depth.
Well, I think that, you know, they didn't have a lot of experience and not a lot of depth before, and then they were just kind of boot rookies anyway. But picking up Chris Sosian and Carl Markowski, giant, huge pickups, and then having guys like Rob Velez and AJ Lawhead really start stepping up as well. I mean, Shock could be a force next year. We will see. They still got to win this match. Oh, AJ Lawhead, we just commentator cursed him right now. He comes off early.
Shock up 2 points right now over 187. Carl Markowski on your screen, shooting down the snake. Look for him to move up a little bit.
Yeah, Aftershock looks like they're going to dig in here. Crossed up from the snake one and the Dorita one, just pounding lanes. 2 cans playing straight ahead. As we see Zaleski come across on the inside.
go into snake 2.
Valesky's got to be careful, man. I mean, Carl's on him down that lane. He's sticking his foot out, has pack out for a second.
Oh, trying to make a move into the 50, Dorito. Looks like Lizotte gets shot for 187, so one body down now for 187. Zaleski turns the corner, gets into snake 3. 187 continues to push up the Dorito side. Carl Markowski
closing the gap.
Feeling kind of frisky. Wanting to take off again.
Got Dan Zaleski on your screen right there, shooting across the field. 19,200 fantasy points. Sorry, 79 kills for the season. Here comes Carl Markowski. Is he going to stay in? No,
they're going to pull Carl out too.
Yeah, Markowski saw Derula get shot and instantly took off to go get Zaleski. Good move by Carl right there because the whole snake side has been eliminated now. Velez and McKenna over there on the Dorito side can just dig in.
I really like how Carl's playing this event, and mostly because even though he struggled a lot early on getting shot off the break, I think he even got a penalty too. His problem when he was younger was he mentally was not able to fight through those battles, but now he's just shaking it off, no big deal.
You know, I talked to Carl before their first game on Friday, and I was like, hey man, like, don't try and do too much, you know? You go out there and you're blazing fast and you can do all sorts of crazy stuff, but don't do what's unnecessary, you know? Stick to your game. You know how to play. You know, you're not the guy you used to be. Just don't try and do too much.
In a good way. Saying not the guy you used to be in a good way, though,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, his mental tenacity and toughness is a lot better than it used to be.
Absolutely.
Chris Matty was joking with me this morning. He said, what if 5 Carl Markowskis played against 5 Carl Markowskis on the field?
And Todd was like, I don't think that the laws of physics would allow that to happen.
You don't need back bunkers.
He's like, because then it would they'd all rush together and there'd be a simultaneous explosion and every bunker on the field would explode.
Eddie Painter taking the walk, trying to make across the field.
Oh, Painter
little slow getting up, though.
Painter gets dropped. I think he took a one on it.
And that's going to be time on this game as the last second is going to tick away.
Hey, at least Painter died on his sword.
Yeah, you know, he died going forward. You know, Aftershock, 5-3 time expires in this game. Rob Velez on your screen right there, out of paint, but still in the Champions Division.
Yeah, so congratulations, Chicago Aftershock. This is a huge win for them. I don't see them celebrating. I hope they know that this is the game that's going to solidify their ability to be able to play. And I think Painter might be a little more injured than we think.
Well, it looked like he hurt himself. He dove in. I mean, you know when you dive in to things.
Knock the wind at himself, maybe? Or?
I wouldn't call it wind. I think it's more in the nether regions.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just give me a second.
Just give me
I'll be fine. Okay. Somebody take my gun.
Tough kid, man.
Yeah, he's a real tough kid.
And again, he knew they were closing seconds of the game, and instead of just letting the time expire, which he could have, because there's no way they were going to score the 2 points, he decided to head in and just attack. Well, let's check out this replay here. So here it is. There's Carl Markowski, and when he saw Derula die.
That was actually a pretty good Simo right there.
Yeah, that was a good Simo. And they're both going to plead their case.
Well, Carl's ready to play. He's just going to continue playing.
Well, Carl comes around here and actually,
maybe.
It was real close,
I think
man.
it was such, that's, okay, we're watching
Carl got shot from across the field
as
well.
Yeah, we're watching a slow-mo. Yeah, he did get shot from across the field, so he had more than one hit on him.
Yeah, that one in his back definitely wasn't from Zaleski.
That was a pretty bang-bang play right there. But still a good move by Carl to do what he needed to do. I mean, that's what a one. We call them the ones, or the first attackers, the front players. And that's exactly what you want out of them when they read that timing. See, as soon as that body dropped off, he made that move and dropped the hammer. So, man, Chicago Aftershock, they could be a legit team next year, man, with the new pickups they have with Sosin and Markowski and the way that Velez and Lawhead. They also have Caleb Abel, who didn't get a lot of playing time. He's a talent. I mean, they're starting to get depth. And I think Mike Bruno's got himself a paintball team right now. I mean, let's look at how they did for both 187 Crew and Chicago Aftershock. World Cup, the best that they've done. 11th and 2nd, that was Chicago Aftershock. Second, that was the highest they played. But then after 2009, the team fell apart, and they had to start rebuilding again, and that's the team that we're seeing now. So finally starting to move the way that they need to move. So, but hey, if you're 187, super frustrating performance for them with the penalties, because they could just stay out of the penalty box. Well, let's check in with Lauren Kelly on the sideline. She is the captain and coach of the team. Chicago Aftershock, the winners here, Mikey Bruno.
Hey guys, I am down here with your first winners of the day, Coach Mikey Bruno and Carl Markowski from Aftershock. Mikey, you guys have had 2 big wins this weekend, first against Damage, and now you won this relegation match to secure your spot in the champion bracket for 2014. How does it feel? This looks like a new Aftershock we're seeing here.
Yeah, we got obviously some new players. We know we belong in this league. The history's there. We're here to play. We're not going away. And it was just, you know, like I said, I felt like we should have been in the Final Four with the way we were playing. Just some inexperience, but we're there. We're neck and neck with everybody. So well, I'm very happy with my guys.
Well, I think everyone is very impressed, so congratulations. Carl, this is only your 2nd tournament back and playing with Aftershock. First one, you guys bumped up to the Champions bracket for World Cup, and now you're staying in the Champions bracket. How does it feel, and how is it playing with Aftershock?
Oh, it feels great. I mean, a lot of the guys are real hardworking, you know, local guys, and I don't have to drive too far for practice, so it makes it more convenient. And, you know, a lot of them, they want to work hard, they want to win. And that's what I want to do. I want to win. And, you know, I'm not getting any younger, so, and those kids are young, so they keep me going.
Now, all I've been hearing about you is you're the fastest runner in paintball, but talk to me about that play when you were running down the snake side. I mean, everyone was talking about it.
Yeah, thanks, Maddie, for that one, for keep telling everybody that. You know, it's more of a gut feeling thing for me, you know, and just kind of an instinct kind of thing. And I feel like a lot of young players need to go by that more instead of the coaching and go more by their gut and what they feel. And that's where those moves come from, really.
All right, well, it looks like your instincts are just right on. So congratulations, guys. Big win for you. Next up, we have Infamous versus the Russians. We'll see who wins that one and stays in the champions bracket.
Yeah. I love that guy, man.
Yeah,
I really
Carl
do.
is great. Love Carl. So glad he's back in the game, and,
yeah, man,
and looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And also, who knows how good he can be? Because you know, he took a couple years off, so to see him up here and already an impact player right away is pretty impressive. So, and then one of these days we are going to have this mythical race-off, or this race between, you know, Dan Holliday, Alex Goldman, the fastest guys in the league, so we can find out who really is the fastest guy.
I would like to throw Shane Colby and Keith DeVitt in there too.
Okay, all right. So yeah, one of these days we will bring you guys that. So Chicago Aftershock moving on to the Challengers Division Final. That's going to be this afternoon. Next up, let's take a look here at the schedule for the day, as the next match is going to be Los Angeles Infamous taking on Moscow Red Legion in another relegation game. And then after that, Sacramento Excessive going to be taking on Texas Storm in the Challengers Division semifinals, and then Top Gun and Vicious. And then we get to the, you can see it on your screen, and then you can see Houston Heat going to be taking on San Antonio X Factor, battle for that best team in Texas moniker, even though as far as Texans are concerned, San Antonio X Factor overwhelmingly has that, definitely can take that title. So here we go, and then Edmonton Impact and Los Angeles Ironman going to be throwing down in the next Champions Division semifinal. They'll have all the division finals. You know, there's over 400 teams here playing against all these different divisions, and we're going to see the best teams throwing down here on the main field on the webcast. I'm Matty Marshall, Todd Martinez, and Chris Osoya. Stick with us. We'll be right back.